In this video, we're going to talk about sizing your cast bullets and the sizing equipment used. You do have several options, okay, and I'm going to start with the oldest and probably the most expensive. We're going to take a look at the Lyman luber-sizer. Okay, now what this method does is two things at once. Using as is, you know, the old-fashioned way was that soft wax lube. When we look at the lube video, that stuff that twisted in the hand, it was made as a tube, okay? And what this will do is this will size and lubricate the bullets in one step. Now, the downside to this is these things nowadays cost $200. And if you use the high temp lube, or what's kind of the standard now, you have to get a heating element also. And what it is, there's a plate that goes and heats this machine. And how it works, first we'll talk about the lubing part. Up here you got this rod that's threaded. If I can get this off. Ah, yeah. Okay, you got this cap. See, in this stuff, it's sticky and gooey. When it's cold like this, it is a son of a bitch. All right. So you got up here on the top, you got this cap. You take the cap off. And you look down in there, there's this threaded rod, you can't see, it's all black. And the nut on the end. You would take that hollow tube of lube and slide it in there. And then I did find, I don't have it in, you would take this, see these rubber gaskets, and it's threaded in there. And I mean, it's still gummed up with lube. And you'd put it on this here, like that. Get it down on there and get it started on the threads. Okay? Like this. Maybe we'll stick this in there. So I'm going to wheel that down until it gets in there. Okay, we're going to skip that part, but you get the idea. You put it on there, thread this down till them rubber rings engage, and then get it flush or down past this. Then you put the cap back on here. Put on that cap, and then you take this ratchet, okay, and one side turns it one way, one side turns it the other. And what you would do is you'd keep turning this until you force that wax down to where it comes into this reservoir and goes around the die, okay. And then how you would lube is you would come down, get the bullet in the die. And usually when I was doing 45 and 44, you give this a couple cranks, pressurize it, force the soft lube through the die into the bullet, and then yank it back up, and it will come out lubricated and sized. Now, what goes in here? If you look, there's this round plate thing, okay, and there is a top punch. So you need like extra equipment. Well, what holds the die in there is you got this specialized wrench. It goes down onto that nut in there, and you have to turn it off. The threads are fine. It's hard to get cross-threaded, and once the lube builds up, this thing kind of can be a pain in the ass to use. Now, what a die for this looks like is this, okay? This is a die for that machine. And it costs about $20, $30 each. This is a custom made one. It's Electropen 434. You can get them at Buffalo Arms and that. That's why I still use this machine. For some real odd sizes, you can get custom made dies. And there's several companies that'll do this, but a custom-made die costs about $50. Okay. So how this works is that cap that I showed you. We'll go over this, and there's a little rubber gasket. And once you screw that into the reservoir, okay, down in there, it holds that in place. And you see these little holes? So when you put the bullet on this in the machine and then press down with the top punch, okay, you would press down on this thing in the center. And then what happens is down on the bottom, this plug in there, this has still got lube in it. Okay. The plug comes out. And as the plug comes down, those little holes is where the wax will pressurize inside that hardened steel. And what this does is this squeezes the bullet to that diameter. So whatever this die is, that's the diameter. See if we can get this out. And I don't know if you can see the holes along the side. But there are holes, that's what the lube goes in. And with the high temp lube, it has to be soft and pliable to be. And when you crank this, that's where the lube is going. Now this thing sticks out. And we'll look at the one we got here. And how that works is when you push down, you got this apparatus down here. This is where that plug comes out. And so it comes down, you crank it, pressurize, and then when you pull this up, that's what that screw in that, it pushes that back up in, that pin, and then your bullet will come out of the die. Sorry about that. Like this. You know, pushes the pin back up in there, and that's what pushes your bullet up out of the die, and you're done in one step. So you're sized and lubed. Now, pros and cons with this. This is an older machine. This is the way he did it. The reason I kind of don't use this anymore is because each and every time I go down, crank up, put another one in down, you might get 2 bullets lubed. It's just, when you're doing a couple thousand bullets, it's work. And it's expensive now. I think I paid $80 for this 30 years ago. It's $200 now. And plus, the way this works, you got to get a $20 die, okay, for each size. And here's a collection of top punches. And each Lyman top punch, these things are machined out to match the tip of the bullet, okay? And they have a number, like this is 421, so you'd have to go to a chart, find out what Lyman bullet or bullet mold goes with a 421 top punch. And as you can see, this is kind of a whole collection of them in there. There is a company that if you got a flat point on a bullet, he makes little top punches that are flat. He makes a set of them. They're $4 a piece, and that can work just as well. And then your top punch is in the top of this with a set screw. I have to get this one out of there. This machine is the older way that we used to do this stuff years ago, and it was the standard. RCBS and Lyman are almost identical. They use the same dies, and that it's a standard thing, and they will both take the same top punch. So you don't have to worry about that. There was Lockmiller. There's a lot of reloading companies that are not in business. Lockmiller, Star makes a reloader. My friend has one. Like I said, these are quite expensive. They're kind of a pain in the butt, but you know, if you wanted to lube and size in one shot, this is the way to go. Even used, You know, people are going to want like $100 for these. You're not going to find these. So my advice to you is if you go to like an estate auction or a yard sale and you find one of these things for like $30, $40, jump on it, okay? But the problem is a lot of people do that and then go to flea markets and they'll try to sell you one of these for $125 used, you know. So that's where you're kind of stuck. It used to be, in the old days, you go to auctions or estate sales, I mean 40 years ago, and you get a whole box of the stuff, nobody wanted it. You know, for like $20, you get all the dies and everything else. So it's kind of hard to do, and to go and buy a brand new retail, you better really be into casting bullets or like using this. So that is one thing that I use, and you'll see me using it because I already have it, okay? What I do with this, I do pan lube and then run them through certain sizing dies that I have already instead of buying another sizing die. And I either use a top punch or I get just the flat blunt ones because a lot of them bullets have a flat point on them, you know, the bigger 40, 45 caliber ones, and do it that way. And bullet mold companies like NEO and that will make you a top punch for the bullet. Okay, that's an option for a machine like that, and that's what they're talking about. The top punch is that thing in there, okay? But I'll show you another use for that with another device. So that covers the Lyman RCBS luber-sizers, okay? This is the most expensive thing. I kind of don't recommend it, you know, because you got to get a heating element also, which is extra to use the high temp lube, which I like. I don't really use that soft lubricant anymore. So let's go on to the next sizing deal. Okay, the next piece of sizing equipment which you can use is our famous Lee. Come in this little storage thing. Basically, it's basically a push-through sizer. Okay, this one is 358, so that would be for a 30 caliber bullet. And all it is, it screws down into your reloading press, your standard reloading press, and it's a hardened hole in there, okay, with a nice big chamfer. And where your shell holder goes, you'd stick this pusher rod. And then what you do is just put a bullet on there, push it through the sizing die. This thing is like 5,000 smaller in diameter, just push it rod, and you push it up through. And on top of your sizing die, or your reloading machine, you'd put this container, and as you push the bullets through, they collect them there. Now, Lee designed this simplified reloading tools. The guy that started the Lee company way back in the 50s, he was looking at reloading equipment and the cost of buying everything. Like right now, for you to get your basic stuff, a powder scale, powder measure, a press, the priming tools that come with the press, the whole kit, you're looking at depending on what brand you buy, $300-400 for a basic layout. And the companies do sell kits where everything's included, where you could start reloading. Then you have to get dies, shell holders, all that other stuff. So the guy who designed Lee said, I'm going to make simplified reloading tools, which you have the Lee loader, where you got sizing dies you use with a hammer and all that other stuff. But he come up with cast bullets and a sizing system. Now this thing costs $20. I just went and looked it up on graphs. It's $20. So say you bought a Lee bullet mold for 38 caliber. Say that's another $20-30. And you bought the sizer, which goes in a standard press for $20. So now you can cast bullets and size them. But here's the thing, how do you lube them? And that's where Lee come up with this tumble lube. I used to get a bottle of it in each one of these red containers. Used to come with this. And Lee's idea was, instead of using a luber-sizer and that, and I've tried it, tumble lube they call it, And he does make special bullets, them little fine grooves, supposedly to take this liquid Alex and get it in there. Pretty solid. I've never used a Lee tumble lube bullet. I've tried to tumble lube. Now people swear by this, love it, and use this stuff as a form of lube. I never really had good luck with it, but look it up online or on YouTube. There's people that concoct formulas that supposedly do this. And what's nice is you cast a bunch of bullets, put them in like a Cool Whip or a little plastic bucket with a lid. Put your liquid lube in there and just swirl it around. Coat all the bullets, lay them out, let them dry, and then run them through the sizer and you're good to go. That was the whole idea behind this, okay? I got these because it is more convenient. Okay, I pan lube the bullets, and I use this with some, if I get the size that I want, I use this, I pan lube them like you've seen, and then just run them up and I'm done. Okay, so yes, it is a time saver. The only downside is you got to drop 20 bucks every time you want a different diameter, which is about the same as getting these for the luber-sizer after you swallow the $200 cost of getting the machine to use this. Okay, the only advantage with this is you can lube and size in one shot, okay, with the Lyman style machine and apparatus. The only disadvantage with this is you must have the bullets somewhat lubed first before you run them through there, okay? And also some people do not size the bullets. Some people use them as they drop out of the mold, but that's how this works. The other downside to this is they are set diameters. Okay, they're in a catalog, and what they make, their standard line. Nobody makes a custom size. Say you want one of these, this is 358. Say you wanted 359, 360. It's not made. Okay, so some people try to grind these out or polish them out, was a thing of doing, but this stuff is hard. It's hardened. However they harden it, it's harder than hell. I've tried it. It's difficult to modify. But what you could do at one time, and I did this now mind you over 10 years ago, call up the Lee factory and say, hey, I want some custom made sizes. They used to do that. Okay, they would take custom orders, or they will, if you pay them and make arrangements with them, they will make a custom set of dies, they will make a custom size sizer. And I wanted 4 or 5 different sizes. So I got on the phone and I placed a telephone order with them. I said I would like these sizing dies made on these sizes, and I told them what sizes I wanted, and there was like 5 of them. These cost $20. The custom order would be like $30, $35, and they made me the custom sizers, but they said it would be 3-4 months. It took a little over 6 months before I got them. The only problem now is during these crises, and like during the Obama ammo shortage and crisis, you go to the Lee's website and they tell you all custom orders are off because they're overwhelmed. They're trying to keep up with making their standard tools. They will not take custom orders, so you're kind of stuck on that. But at one time they did, and truthfully, for 35-40 bucks to get a custom sized sizer, I don't know what they charge you now, but it's a little bit more. So they're 20, say it's $40. It's about what you get one of these custom made ones for 50 bucks. So that is an option. Bear that in mind. Okay, we're going to go on to the next one, which is similar, which I think is the best deal and you should look into. And we'll cover that one next. Okay, I believe this tool is probably your best bet, all right? And what this is, NEO bullet mold, push-through size die body, okay? It costs about $35, say with shipping a little over 40 bucks. And what you get is you get a similar thing to a Lyman push-through sizer, but this is highly adaptable, and this is made by the company, and nobody quite explains it. I didn't know about it for years, and like I said, I had the older equipment. So when I was getting into this, I went and looked this up and got this. And what comes in, like I said, you have to buy this kit first, the push-through size die body. So you buy this first before you get anything else. And what you have is this body has 2 set screws in the bottom. And what's unique about this, instead of screwing down, you have to screw this up through the press. And I'll show you when I set this up. So you get that. Pusher rods for the different sizes have to be bought separately, but what comes in this kit is this little device here. And what this is this, you see it's got the groove on the bottom. It snaps in to the shell holder. And with this little plug on the bottom, if you get, and this is the NOE top punch for the RCBS Lyman, you put this into this little device, okay? And then what you would do is, instead of having a flat pusher rod, you would put the bullet in there like this, upside down, and then push it up through the sizing die ass end first. Okay, so that is part of the kit, this holder for the top punches. Now, what you get in here is you get 3 of these different little sleeves, okay? And they are all a different size. What you have to do is you have to get one that a bullet will fit through there, okay? And that's what it is, because the larger one, you don't want your 6.5 bullets going through the larger one. So the 6.5 bullet goes in this smaller one here. You know, if I was going to use a 38 or 40, I'd probably use this, and then 45 and bigger, I'd use this. And then what this does, now you see you have your set screws, and you see there is a groove in there. And what that does is, when you put this in after it is threaded in, you would tighten down the top set screw. And what that does, let's see if I got my wrench. When you tighten this top one down, okay, it locks this in place. That set screw goes into that groove and locks this in place. But that gets done after you set it in the press. See the groove? That set screw rests in there. Okay? So you have that. Now let me get that out and I'll show you this last part that comes with it. Alright, this last piece that comes in the kit, what this is for is they have different size bushings. Here's a bushing, okay? And the bushing goes into the bottom. These you have to buy separately. They're about $9 or $10. And if you look at the bushing, you see there's another groove in there, okay? So what you would do is you would apply the bushing in like this and tighten it down with the set screw. I'm going to put the one in there 270 for our Carcano bullet. Okay, so that's how you put a bushing in. Now this is the thing about this. Once you buy this kit, you can put any one of their size bushings in there, and he makes a lot of different sizes that marry up with all the different bullet molds he makes, okay? So the bushing is in, but that's how you place a bushing in. Now, that is for the body size. Well, say you were having trouble with this bullet and you couldn't chamber it because this other section, the nose section, was giving you problems and you had to nose size it. What you would do, this is 270 for the body, say you had to get a 264 bushing in there, and it's called a nose bushing. Okay, they are a different bushing. You would place that bushing into the die, screw the die up, and then what you would do is you would get a pusher rod and push the bullet up to a certain distance inside, okay? And then I believe the way this works, you would put the top punch in there. I don't have a nose bushing, so we're not going to nose size. But I believe what you would do is, with a pusher rod, see, this is going to be problematic. You would push the bullet up part way there, like this. And then once it's up and you'd stop, you would take this with the nose punch and put this in there. And then this is how you would press the bullet out of the die. Like that. I don't know, fuck that up to it. But that's what I think this is used for. This would be how you push your bullet out again. Give it a nudge out of the die. So that's what comes in the push-through die body kit. And this is what you must get first to use the kit. Okay, that's what comes with it. No bushings, no nothing. So, you have your kit. Now I'll go get some of the other things and I'll show you the examples of how we change that all out. Okay, once you get the kit, then you can go and purchase, this is 461 diameter bushing. Okay, so if I wanted to size my bullet to 461, I would put that in there where the 270 is, okay? And he does sell, you're getting all gummed up, pusher rods, okay? So instead of using the top punch, you buy the 1 caliber, as long as it's smaller than the diameter, then you put it in there, put this in the arm, and you have a Lee push-through style sizing die. And the thing about this is very versatile. You can go from 22 caliber to 45 caliber, I believe, with this. And you know, the only thing is you have to have the corresponding body in there. And I'll show you when I go and set this up how this works. But these are like $9, $10 a piece. Okay, all of these components. And with 1 pusher rod, clean that up, you know, as long as it is smaller than your diameter, okay, and I think that's how he makes them, like 44, 45 caliber, it'll work with a whole bunch of different sizes. So you can fine tune and tweak your bullet diameter using this kit. This kit's very economical, because now, all right, say you buy the 1 kit. It's a little bit more expensive than a Lee. But if you want to change the sizing, say you tried the bullets, it's not working out, you want to go a couple thousandths one way or the other, for $10, you can do that. Or you can do 38, 44, and it's like a $10, $20 changeover from the different things. So, very economical and works well. Alright, so what we're going to do, I'm going to put this away, and I'm going to show you, we're going to set this up to go in my press. So I got the 270 bushing in there and locked, okay? So that's set and ready. We're going to take this shell holder, and we're going to put the correct top punch in there, and we're going to lock that down, okay? So now that's locked in there. Alright, we're going to go to the reloading press and we're going to set this up and I'll show you how it works. All right, like I said, the one strange thing about this is now we have our correct sizing bushing in there and locked in. So we take this and you gotta screw it up from the bottom up. So we do that. Get it somewhat up in there, and then we take our sleeve with the correct diameter for our 6.5, and then we will go and lock that sleeve in there. Take our set screw and just tighten it down. I mean, that's what the grooves are for. The grooves, it's all locked into place. See, locked in. And we just take it up till it's there. Then, with our top punch, put that in there. We set a Lee, and this is designed to be used with this Lee holder. We put the Lee holder up on top like that, okay? And then what we would do, we take our bullet, put it in there like that, and then up it goes. And then we just size our bullets that way. Do this to where you can see it. It's a bad camera, but you can see that's how it works. Push it up in there, boom. And just like a Lee push-through sizer. This thing is probably your best bet in terms of cost, versatility, and you can get a lot of different bushings in that. And like I said, at $9, $10 a piece, you know, it's the way to go. And if you're getting a bullet mold with the top punch, which I generally, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, that's the way to go. All right? So that's the NEO sizing thing. The only thing about NEO sizing, you have to lube the bullets first, or after, or whatever. All right, so that's kind of the basics on sizing equipment. Even though it's something new to me, NEO is a very good company to work with, even if they don't have a bullet mold in stock that you need. But their sizing setup is probably the best in terms of value, you know, how much money you're going to have to spend, and versatility. Okay, if you're a beginner or you're looking, I go with that. It's just when you're lubing, just remember to get your silicone bakeware and pan lube, and you can go. Also, if you were into, and I didn't mention this, if you're into powder coating, okay, the push-through sizers are the way to go. A lot of people do that. When you powder coat, there's a place that sells powder coating. It has some sort of a lubricant you can mix, and you can lube it with that, or I use Hornady one-shot lubricant. Okay, that's that stuff you spray on, let it dry. It doesn't contaminate the powder or whatever. You can lube it with that if you're doing the powder coating. And this would be, if you're powder coating, this would be this, or the Lee style sizer would be the way to go if you're going to go with powder coating. I personally don't do that right at the moment, but if you're into doing this cast and powder coating, these push-through sizing dies are what you'd want to use with some type of lubricant, because the powder coating basically is a synthetic jacket you're putting on a lead bullet. You don't really need a wax lube of any type. That was the whole idea behind it, but that is the system to use for that if you make that choice. All right, thank you, and stay tuned.